Good morning. It is Friday, April the 18th of 2025. The time is 8:07. Currently overcast skies, maybe a couple of stray raindrops in the central Wisconsin area. Temperature 50 degrees here at our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Friday edition of the Chad Holmes Show. Final Friday edition of the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Coming up this morning at 8:21, we'll be talking about your holiday weekend weather forecast. Of course, it is the Easter holiday weekend. Today is Good Friday, and of course, Easter Sunday coming up on Sunday. Lots of family activities, lots of different activities out there that the weather can throw a monkey wrench into. What can we expect weather-wise? We'll find out with our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot, coming up in just a few minutes. Then at the bottom of the hour, as we do every Friday, we get a chance to visit with our Civic Media and 98.9 WXCO sports reporter, Mike Clemens. Mike has been covering the Brewers and the Bucks and the Badgers. And, of course, this weekend, tomorrow, in fact, the Milwaukee Bucks will open up their Eastern Conference playoff series with the Indiana Pacers. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch more at 8:34 this morning with Mike Clemens. Coming up in the second hour, as we do on Fridays as well, we get an opportunity to visit with my friend and Newman Catholic High School athletic director and football coach and track and field coach Paul Michlig. And then, of course, at the end of the program, our final segment at 9:51 this morning, we will have our daily history lesson. We'll talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on this date in history, some of the famous folks who are celebrating their birthdays, some special events being acknowledged today. And then, of course, we will wrap it up with our number for the day quiz. As every day, we have a number for the day. And instead of just throwing it out there, we make it a quiz. We give Ian Welsh 3 choices, one of which is correct, 2 of which are incorrect, and give a chance to finish off the week in a positive way. And
absolutely,
the person that does take that quiz is our in-studio engineer, our in-studio producer, Ian Welsh. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Chad.
2 out of 4 so far this week. Started with 2 wins. Had back-to-back losses, so
a little bit of pressure.
Morning. You want a winning week, so we're gonna see whether or not you can pull that one out and be able to get that W coming up at the end of the program.
That's right.
But yeah, absolutely. We'll talk more with you and get a sense on what's going on. Of course, you've had your rehearsals this week and now getting ready for the weekend as well.
Yes.
But we'll talk to you a little bit later on. But want to talk a little bit to Cornell here. Cornell, actually nice to see you sitting across the table here in our studio. Make sure you get that microphone just a little bit closer. But I know that you tune in. You're one of our terrific callers, not just for this program, but other programs across the Civic Media Radio Network. And good to see you.
Well, I just came in today to, we got Earth Day coming up this week. And if everybody checks out their towns and punches up Earth Day, there's quite a few events in Wausau and all over, the towns Stevens Point, Madison, Milwaukee. There's quite a few events, and
it's on Tuesday for people, just in case they don't know.
Yeah, but Tuesday, and there's events going on. It sounds like all week. They'll be running, just not on Tuesday. But if you punch up the city and Earth Day, even if you go to the DNR site, that they got Earth Day events there. And I just wanted to come in and talk about how important our trees are in the world, because the trees are the air conditioning of the world, and we really need more trees because our CO2 level is rising, and trees they'll just help lower the temperature of the area, and it's very aesthetic. And I would like to congratulate Wausau, because I think they won an award in their department that they plant so many trees, and it's really wonderful. Like, I see trees every 50 feet, and you just need trees to it's just so important, because our CO2 level is the highest in a million years, and it cleans the water, it's flood control, and it's just something that people should do. I'd like to see businesses like plant a tree in every corner of their property. It's very important, and even wildlife. You have the birds and insects that live in the trees, and it's just very important.
And also, real fast before you continue, something we were talking about with members of the environmental committee just recently is about pollinators. And it doesn't always have to be trees. It could just be plants as well.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, it could be very small, but it's also very important. And if you just because the bees and the birds need those pollinators. I mean, it's all part of the cycle of life, basically, here. But there's so many different ways that it may seem like a small thing, but actually it could be a very significant factor.
Oh, sure. Like, I have my big hobby is I do 6 to 8 hours in my garden. I have a gigantic garden. I put down about 100 tomato plants, and the bees come in. They have to pollinate. Even they transfer bees around the country to pollinate the crops, and it is very important. I even grow a good pollinator, zinnia flowers. I put those down, and a lot of bees like that, and even the hummingbirds, and it's just a nice sound that these bees come around. It is quite important.
And the thing about it, it's important to think about, and I think that something that you've obviously thought about is every day that goes by that we don't take it seriously, we're getting closer and closer to some very serious consequences, aren't we?
Well, we might make it. There might be a no return point, but people have to pay attention to the environment,
right?
And it's they're just talking about the environment. Even the Wausau paper had an article front page that the Lake Michigan isn't acting right. It's getting too warm. And then also now they're cutting back on FEMA, and they just had a thing on the newspaper that Mississippi River is polluted, and FEMA regulates the Mississippi River. And also another point is we have to support wind power, solar power, and now the Trump administration wants to shut down New York's wind power, where they need that funding, and they were going to power 500,000 trees. You really have to focus on, if the federal government's not going to do it, the states have to do it. We have to have electric stations. We have to support wind power, solar power, and it's quite important because our temperatures are hitting record numbers. Even in Europe, it's tremendous floods, and even in South America, that they had trees there, but they had so much, clear cutting that they had floods. That they had 800 houses, and 600 houses were wiped out from floods. So I mean, you have to pay, and we had tremendous flooding down in Brownsville. We had 25 inches of rain, and they're really suffering, these red states. I'm surprised they're supporting Trump, but they're having a steady flooding in Texas, Kentucky, and also tremendous fires. And we had in North Carolina. There was even fires in Florida that Trump didn't even complain about. So I mean, the planet's warming, and that's the problem. And the statement is that it's going to be too hot to live, and that we have to look at those temperatures, and even like back in
ignoring the issues.
Yeah.
And I think, real quickly,
yes,
before you
right,
jump in,
right,
it's not just this, but it's all sorts of different issues when you see the policies in the last 3 months since this new administration came in terms of cutting funding in not just that area, but in so many different areas. The idea that if you ignore the problem, it's going to go away. I think a child realizes that is not the way to go about trying to fix any issues. If you ignore it, it's just going to get worse. And unfortunately, it seems as though in so many different areas, that is the policy of this administration, that, hey, if we just eliminate these positions, we won't have to think about them anymore, which is ridiculous.
Well, the bottom line is, a scientist said, if we don't get this under control, we might not be able to survive in 100 years.
And also there is, I think, as you said, there is going to be a date where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
You're going to get to the point you can't fix it.
Right.
It's literally getting closer and closer to that point.
Right.
And we got about 2 minutes to go, and I know you have so much you want to say.
Yeah.
But is there something you want to make sure you?
Well, Tom Tiffany wants to create a national park in the Madeline Islands up north.
Yeah.
And the state should really fight that, and we should keep control of that, because he wants to clear cut the forest. And studies have shown as you shouldn't clear cut, you should thin out. You can thin it out, but you shouldn't totally clear cut it, because the trees are homes to birds, insects, and that's very important. Like, there was a woodpecker down in South America. If they didn't have that woodpecker, those trees would die, because those woodpeckers, they eat a lot of bugs, and the birds, so it's just, people have to pay attention, it's like you said, are people, you said on the radio, are people paying attention?
Well, that's it. And I think, to kind of wrap it up, and that's something that you do, and I think that everybody has to do, is take the responsibility themselves. It's easy to blame others, the representatives, but part of democracy, and the people need to be knowing what's going on, and also pressuring those elected officials, because I do think, even if they disagree with you, if they hear that pressure, it does affect them in some way.
Getting the right people in office that believe in protecting the environment.
It's very,
and
very
that's what we have to, we have to focus on that.
Cornell, thank you very much.
Well, thank
Always
you, Chad.
Good to see you. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Brittney here on WXCO.
Good morning, Brittney.
Good morning.
Looks like we got a little bit of rain last night.
Yeah. Wait till you have to hear what I have to say about down south.
Oh boy.
Getting hit.
I think I actually saw on the forecast as I was getting ready this morning that I think it was like I don't remember exactly where it was.
Madison? Kind of south of Madison.
Actually, I think it was about around the Madison area, but they were talking about the possibility of hail. And just, man.
They got baseball-sized hail south of Madison.
Oh my gosh.
Baseball. That is insane. Yeah, so I've been like getting those pictures, that video, tracking that. It's been crazy.
Thankfully, we don't get a lot of hail around the Wausau area. At least not like a baseball size, I don't think.
Very rare.
We get more of the golf ball and ping pong ball sized hail.
Mm-hmm.
be shy, because you will not believe your eyes. She's right here behind the glass. You're gonna like her, cause she's got class. You can look inside.
Welcome back. It is the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. You can also join us by going to YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel on YouTube as well. It is 8:22. You can join us by calling or texting at 715-382-9297. 715-382-9297. Again, if you have something on your mind, something that Cornell was talking about just a few moments ago, anything that we're not talking about, you can also let us know. Again, that number is either to call or text 715-382-9297. Again, overcast skies, mild temperatures here to start things off on this Friday morning, Good Friday morning. 50 degrees here in downtown Wausau. And to find out about our holiday weekend forecast, we are happy to welcome back, as we do every morning at 8:21. And even with the changes that are occurring, I will be in this chair. Brittney will be with us as well to talk about the weather on weekday mornings at 8:21. It is our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot. Brittney, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Doing good. I mean, I got to admit, I had the hardest time dragging myself out of bed this morning. I don't know why. It says, I mean, and I went to bed actually early last night. I was tired, and as I was laying in bed around 10 o'clock, I could hear in Weston the rain was really pouring down last night. At least it sounded like it to me. I didn't get out of bed and look, but it just sounded like it was coming down pretty hard.
It sure was. And I did the same exact thing. I kept the window cracked. I wanted the fresh air all night. I wanted to hear the rain because, some people use the soundscapes to fall asleep and the thunderstorm sounds. Well, we had it naturally last night. So it just rocked me to bed. And like you said, I didn't want to get up because it's the perfect sleeping weather, isn't it?
How much did we get by any chance? Do you have any idea on that? Was it significant? Because I really don't know. It's like, sometimes you may sound like there's a lot of rain, and then you hear, well, just, a couple of tenths or something like that. Did we get a significant amount last night, or do you know that?
I have to still look because I have been so busy. You know what happened? You know what happened down south this morning? They didn't wake up to that nice, beautiful rainfall that we had. They saw baseball size hail down south this morning. So I have been tracking that. It is crazy. It shattered out windshields, damaged roofs, wrecked siding, all of that. Pretty scary stuff. So as we take a look, I'm looking right now. What did we get?
For that reason, I will make sure to put my car always in the garage. Because you never know. I know there was a chance of maybe some severe weather, but I don't think people were thinking about baseball-sized hail. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And very rare. And then that storm is, thankfully, the hail started to weaken, but it is still headed towards the Milwaukee area. So really hitting the big populated areas, south of Madison into Milwaukee. Just some crazy stuff, but I can't get our rain amounts just yet. They're not loading. Go figure.
That's okay. We know, but the thing about it coming into work this morning, it was, it had that refreshing feeling after the rain and warmer nice warm morning, refreshing feel. As we look outside, I see the clouds. I maybe a couple of stray drops still around, but as we get into our Friday, are we expecting more rain today?
We are. So we've got the dreary, cloudy skies, the soggy grass, the fog still lingering probably till about 10 or 11, then it'll clear. It'll be cloudy all day today. High temperatures, though, still nice. Like you said, we're going to make it to the upper 50s, but rain could still be sprinkling and spitting on us throughout the afternoon. I think it's going to ramp up a little bit more, so moderate rain from about 4 to maybe 10 o'clock this evening. And the later we get, the more chances of some rumbles of thunder, but no severe weather here for us. We're not looking at that hail risk, nothing. So don't worry about it. But if you are traveling south in the state tonight and towards the Milwaukee area, from about 5 to 8 o'clock or so, they're looking at strong to severe thunderstorms. So heads up if you're going that way. Otherwise, here for us, not too bad. Like you said, the rain that we needed is coming through again from about 4 to 10 tonight, and that'll clear out overnight. And it's going to give us a bright and beautiful day tomorrow. It's going to give us some sunshine on Sunday before the next system moves in. It's going to bring some rain by Sunday afternoon now, and that continues into our Monday.
Well, the good news is so much of the Easter activities are earlier. They,
Yes.
go to church in the morning, get together for a brunch or a lunch. So actually, if it comes in later in the day, that I don't think it will not ruin Easter Sunday. That's the good news.
Correct. Yes. So I'm kind of glad that all of this crazy severe weather is going to be out of the way. We'll have a calmer weekend, and then it's not looking severe as we go into Sunday or Monday at all. It's just some rain rolling through, pretty heavy at times though. So yeah, like you said, I'm glad it's in the afternoon and evening as that moves in.
Fantastic. Well, let's get the details now for our holiday weekend weather forecast.
All right, so cloudy, dark, damp, and dreary today, on and off scattered showers, more and more likely and ramping up from about 4 to 10 this evening. Some thunder is possible late. High temperatures today, though, still hitting the upper 50s with highs of about 58 degrees. Tomorrow will be at about 54, so a little bit cooler, but a lot more sunshine out there. A few more clouds start to build in by Sunday afternoon with that rain arriving. High temperatures on Sunday still 53 degrees, so comfortable if you ask me.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. All right, Brittany. Well, thanks again for the information. Have yourself a wonderful Easter weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday morning.
Bye,
Sounds
Brittany.
good.
Happy Easter.
Bye, guys. You too.
That is our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot, joins us every weekday morning at 8:21, and that will continue even after the schedule changes that go into effect on Wednesday of next week. Right now in downtown Wausau, temperature of 50 degrees under cloudy skies. Right now, the dew point is 47, relative humidity of 91%. The winds are coming out of the north at just 4 miles per hour, so very calm start here this morning. And the barometric pressure is at 29.61 inches. Coming up, we have an information update. We'll find out what's going on with the news. What's old Don up to this morning? We'll find out with our national news, plus our statewide news update and local news, plus a look at the weather. And Mike will be in with sports, plus an entertainment update with Pete Schwaba as well. Top and bottom of the hour information updates right here on 98.9 WXCO. And then after that, we'll be joined by Civic Media and 98.9 WXCO sports reporter Mike Clemens. That's straight ahead. The time is 8:29. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
Hello, I'm waiting here for you.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Quick note that coming up later on this afternoon, I will be heading over, weather permitting, to Wausau West as we have high school baseball. The Wausau West Warriors take on the Wittenberg-Burnhamwood Chargers. And, of course, I've been doing Wausau West sports for so many years, but Wittenberg-Burnhamwood is my mom's alma mater. So I like that. Connections on all sides. But Warriors and Wittenberg-Burnhamwood today, starting with the pregame show at 4:50 and the first pitch at 5 o'clock, right here on Wausau's only radio home for high school sports play-by-play, 98.9 WXCO. And speaking of sports, a man that keeps his hand on the pulse of everything going on in terms of professional and college sports here in the state of Wisconsin is our Civic Media and 98.9 WXCO sports reporter, Mike Clemens. And Mike, good morning.
Family Feud and the Home Show on a Good Friday.
I know it.
Mom and the son, the radio broadcast show. Oh, boy. Hi, Ted.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Pretty good.
I tell you, it's always a lot of stuff going on, but tomorrow the NBA playoffs start for the Milwaukee Bucks. And the last few years, the Milwaukee Bucks would start the NBA playoffs, and we are hoping to have it go through April into May and even into June. But recent years, it's been over in April. I think the goal is to get into May this year.
And the common thread is Giannis.
Yep.
There, he's injured, and so you're playing this Indiana Pacers team that put you away last year. I think it was that series ended up 4-2. The Bucks have beat the Pacers now this year 3-1. That last one was, of all people, the kid from Wisconsin, Therese Halliburton, the 4-point play toward the end of the game. Giannis gets called sort of on a phantom foul. Halliburton from Oshkosh, who went to Iowa State, got drafted, I think, by the Kings, and then they traded him.
Yep.
He's 25 now, 6'5", in the prime of his career, and he plays tough against this team that he watched growing up. But of course, the big story is the Damian Lillard saga. Just here he goes. He's got this pain in the right calf a month ago. And they go in for testing, and they say, you've got a blood clot, man, deep vein thrombosis. And so, basketball is just the furthest thing. It's like this could be life-threatening. If that thing releases, it goes to the lungs or the heart. It could be fatal. So they put him on the blood thinner medication. And so it's Tuesday of this week, and our sports director, Jimmy Casca, texts me, and it's like, what? So the Bucks had John Horst, the GM, put out a statement saying, hey, he's made tremendous progress. They say that he's going to be cleared where they can take him off that medication. And that was just stunning because this has happened to other NBA players, and they've been out 6 months. And how can this guy recover in 4 weeks like that? And they just said, look, we got it early, detected it early, started the treatments. He's done everything the doctors have told him to do. So then there's a practice the day before yesterday, and then yesterday, and we're talking to Doc Rivers. And so while a lot of the network people say, hey, the Bucks could have Dame back in time for this, it's like, no, you pump the brakes, right? And because this is an injury where you don't work out. So he hasn't played, or worked out in a month. You got to get in basketball shape. And that's what, Doc Rivers said yesterday. He's like, yeah, we just had a half walkthrough practice. Our real work was done earlier in the week as we prepared to leave Friday for this game on Saturday against the Pacers. So I don't know if he's going to be back in time for this. He'll have to show them on the court that he's got his breath, that he's ready to go, a full 48 if needed. But it's amazing that they're even talking about him getting down to the practice court just a month after being diagnosed with that. But I know that John Horst, first and foremost, you could screw up a relationship with a player if you put that stuff out there about your body and health too early.
Mm-hmm.
But sincerely, the Bucks were scared. I mean, they wondered if this guy could be career-ending, if not life-threatening. And so they were just kind of rejoicing with the player, with the family. Let's do this. We'll put this stuff out there together. But you and I both know, Chad, they got a game to play. There's some gamesmanship here, right? And so when you plant that seed and you tell the Pacers, hey, you might see this guy out there, it might be game time already. You've got to spend extra time looking at video of him and how the Bucks, might anticipate him. That's one more thing you have to prepare for. That's one more thing that a coach and a team like to plant in the seat of their opponent.
And the thing for the Bucks, though, rotations are a very sensitive thing, and they won 8 games in a row to finish off the regular season. For Doc Rivers, obviously, to have a top performer like Dame available, but at the same time, I imagine that he has to try to do it in the right way to make it work for Dame and also make it work for the team itself.
Yeah, and like we talked about last week, I think the best comment I've heard, in the press room at Five Surf Forum after a game from one of the guys, like, how are they doing this? And let's be real too. Of that 8-game winning streak leading up to this week, half those teams are not even in the postseason. So we'll be real about that. But the fact is, what did they do that was different? Well, Doc Rivers even went to Giannis Antetokounmpo and said, look, we've got to change your role. You can't be, the usual Giannis who's underneath the rim, fighting for the layup, fighting for the rebound, and all that. You're going to have to be out there moving the ball around more, and more of a point guard like thing. Well, that made him less predictable. He's coming down, bringing the ball across the line. You don't know if he's going to pass, and which, by the way, his assists went up. They had that one night where he had 20 assists, career high, or if he's going to drive and take it to the basket. And, Kevin Porter Jr. and some of these other shooters they brought along have done a nice job from the outside as well. So they moved the ball around, and that's part of what's led to some success. So Plan B worked pretty good the last month.
Brewers, I tell you, with the Brewers, every time it feels like, things are really kind of going on a wrong direction, and they had the loss of Saturday and Sunday to wrap up the road trip, and then they got blown out in the first game against Detroit. But it always seems like they have the unique ability to turn it around so quickly, and then to allow just one run against a playoff team from last year. They just don't ever seem to get too far into a deep funk, do they, in Milwaukee with the Brewers?
No, and what, Monday night, they're feeling good. The Tigers have got some hot players. They made some roster changes this year, but 9-1, they weren't even close to getting into it. And the Tigers had their best pitcher on the mound that night as well. The Tyler Alexander, who had done a nice job in his first appearance the week before, just getting shelled. It was 4-0, by the end of the second inning, I believe. So, and then you talk to Murph after the game. It's like, hey, understand, we're bringing up guys from Nashville that, at best should be one-inning, middle-of-the-game relievers. And we're putting them in the mound, calling them major league starters. So this is going to happen. But then they made that trade in the offseason, and they got Jose Quintana out there the other night, and he just shut him down. They had a one-hitter the next night. And so they've got enough guys in rotation right now holding down the fort until they can get Brandon Woodruff back and get the Tobias Myers back. He could be back as early as May, I'm hearing. And then they can, be a little. So they're hanging there at 500, and now they got a series tonight against the A's. And don't call them the Oakland A's. They are the A's.
I call them the West Sacramento A's, Mike.
Well, because that's where they're playing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they made such a statement that they're so sick and tired of the Coliseum. So they're playing in a place that's got maybe 10,000 people there.
And they're not even selling out.
No, well, there's so much bad blood, that are leaving the city, and they haven't really invested in the players and the team, and yeah, it's a bad situation. That was that story. I think I told you it was a year ago. We're in Vegas to cover Super Bowl, and then you wait a couple days after the game so you can get a more affordable flight back to Wisconsin.
Right.
And it's like, all right, it's Tuesday night in Vegas, and it's after the game, and what do? So I saw that Rich Little was playing at the Tropicana at the Laugh Factory. So I went there. I actually ran into some guys from Milwaukee that were there, and we watched. It was this great show. Rich Little, he's talking about his days with Sinatra and Sammy Davis on the Strip and on Carson and everything. And I went to the manager of this club and said, wow, that was great. How long is he going to run? He goes, well, we're done at the end of the month. What do you mean we're done? They're tearing the hotel down. We're tearing down the Tropicana. This is where the ballpark's going to be.
Yep.
Oh, really? Wow. So that's where that kind of reality set in. Like, this is for real. This is where the A's are going to be in a couple of years. So that's the team that they're facing tonight. It's total junction dysfunction. Hopefully the Brewers can get a sweep at home before they go on the road next week against the Giants.
Obviously, the Wisconsin Badger football team has some pressure on the Luke Fickell and everybody else going into another year with looks like a pretty tough schedule. Last thing you need to do is lose a starter in spring practice, right?
Oh, and what a punch to the gut. I mean, the 15 spring practices, and then they have the summer, and then they come back for what they call the fall camp. And Luke Fickell's got his new offensive coordinator, Grimm, out there installing this offense, new quarterback. And we were out there at the McLean Center, and it was, it's indoors, the turf, but they got some pads, they're moving around. And all of a sudden, Kevin Haywood, who is projected to take over at left tackle for Jack Nelson from Stoughton, Wisconsin. Jack, whose dad played for the Badgers 30 years ago. And I sent you the clips of that interview with the guy from Jack Nelson from the Combine. Kevin Haywood, a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, he's the new left tackle with your new offense, and he comes up limping. So we go over the week, and they just tell you lower leg injury, right? So Luke comes and talks to us on Tuesday and says, yeah, torn ACL, done for the season. Oh, man, your left tackle.
Yep.
So now they got to spend these spring practices trying to figure out who they're going to shuffle around in the line to take over as the new left tackle position. So, big setback like that. And that's what they're going to have to figure out before they get to summer training camp.
Real fast, and I know that we have a couple of points here and we were running out of time fast. Did you see the Tennessee quarterback situation? Is this something we're going to see more of, holdouts and then almost like getting cut in college football, more like an NFL kind of thing?
It's a mess. And the only thing about the NIL thing, and here's a kid that he was going to get $2 million, right?
Yep.
And now his agent comes in and tells the school, yeah, we want to make that $4 million. And he doesn't. And he walks off the field during their spring practice, leaving them without their lead quarterback just to get things done. Yeah, it's the Wild West in college football. They go from if you're at a coach's barbecue, you're in violation of rules. Coach can be fined. To now, you got agents and all that. It really needs to be settled down, and it's hard for us to get the information because these agents and these schools are kind of scrambling to set up sort of a system as to, all right, here's our free agency period. Here's what the rules are. And it went from NIL to, practically salaries right away. And then some people said, hey, he's just a kid. He's just a 22-year-old college kid. You shouldn't be ripping on him publicly. And some of the writers are saying, no, he's not. He's now a professional.
Yep.
We can say anything we want about these athletes.
And NFL draft is finally almost here. I'll say good luck to you to get to your desk at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, I don't know. We're still waiting for the plan. And I've got some friends that have volunteered to be, greeters at the airport, at Austin Straubel Airport. And they're like, Mike, it's 2 weeks away. They had all these plans for us last December. I got, pump the brakes because we were at Super Bowl in New Orleans, and that was a month after the Cotton Bowl. The league knows what the plan is. They'll reveal it next week, and the public will find out, ideas on where to park, how to get here, the shuttles, that kind of thing, because for security reasons, they don't want to put that out there too early. So, as you get closer to the event, that's when we'll find out what's going on. But yeah, the draft is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday up in Green Bay, and I'll be waiting patiently over the weekend to find out exactly how I'm going to get through 100,000 people in the parking lot Thursday night. So
30 seconds. Hey, Mike, 30 seconds. Is Aaron Rodgers going to play next year?
He's going through this is legit. It's not diva. It's a personal problem. He says he's got a new relationship, and I believe him, and I think he's in communication with Mike Tomlin that, listen, give me a little time to get through this thing before I give you guys an answer.
Boy, a lot of stuff there, Mike. Hey, next week's going to be crazy, but really appreciate your time, and have a great weekend.
I'll talk to you from somewhere around 100,000 next week.
There you go. That's our Mike Clemens, joins us every Friday. Coming up, we'll have more. Now, 8:49 is the time. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
Well, I have seen you stand. got a ribbon and rainbows, the sun in your eye. Running through. Could be I'm happy, I'm sad, could be I'm losing my head over you. Well, you gotta be crazy, baby, to want a guy like me. Yeah, you gotta be out of your mind.
Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. And on the Civic Media app. You can also join us at youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. If you go there right now, you'll see me on one side of the table, Cornell on the other side of the table, hanging out here with me this morning. And actually, we have a few minutes before the end of the first hour here. And, you know, we were talking about Earth Day and talking about the issues involved with the loss of trees and I mean, just generally in terms of some of the important, I think, some lines in the sand are coming rather quickly. Right. And you were saying to me that you've actually started working on a book.
Yeah, well, it's about a science. It's about a scientist, you know, and it's almost like, and he's going down to the supercomputer, and he's trying to figure out, you know, how long can we survive without trees? So, you know, and
it seems like it would be very, very short.
Yeah, well, it could be 100 years, but then he goes down to this convention and he talks to this oligarch, and you know, he gives a speech, and he says, well, we have to go with planting more trees, solar power, wind power. And the oligarch says, well, I want to keep drilling. I
Drill,
don't like
baby,
what
drill, right?
Yes. You know, so he gets mad, and this oligarch actually after the convention, there's a kind of a riot there because you know, each group is kind of fighting. You know, the tree people want to plant trees, and the oligarchs want to keep drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
And they're pulling the windmills out, and you know, it's just people have to realize the environment. You know, it's so important.
You know, something I was talking about with a friend recently. It was during the last days of the campaign leading to April 1st for the state Supreme Court, talking about, you know, Elon Musk and the amount of money that he puts in, and the amount of money that people like Diane Hendricks, one of the richest people in Wisconsin, puts into Republican politics in these dirty spots every election cycle, and the Elon family. The bottom line is we can't take the money with us. We can't take the power with us. We can't take this these ideas of immediate gratification with us. That there has to be some sort of balance. And I'm not saying that folks making money it's not the end all be all that's horrible, because I mean, sometimes it happens, but it just feels as though this idea when it comes to the environment that you just strip it to the bare bone just to get a little bit extra money that you ultimately can't take with you. Right. I mean, the big picture, and you were saying to me earlier off the air that, you know, when we bring in the kids, you know, you hear the kids' voices, you hear hear the energy. We got to think about the future. And so many of the folks, when you talked about what Tom Tiffany's doing, it has no thought about the next generation or the generation after that, or 1,000 years from now, or 10,000 years from now. And I think when you get right down to the core of it, the idea, as simple as it is, whether it's a tree, whether it's a plant, it's about the future.
Right. You know, you just have to think about the environment, and that the way the administration is going, the Trump administration, is we're going the wrong way. We got to go on the path of conservation, you know, to protect the future environment for the next generation. You know, and it's so important. You know, it's just you know, even planting trees around rivers where they'll keep the rivers cool, and the trees can break chemicals down. They're not planting enough trees around lakes where the trees will keep the lakes cool. And it's so important that you just have to wake up to the fact and think about the future, because what the scientists have said, well, they don't believe in the scientist administration.
It's all a hoax. It's always a hoax.
Yeah.
The climate hoax.
Right.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Right,
And again, that's a point as well, that in this era, the idea of poo-pooing intelligence. I just think that, when you basically, and frankly, and again, I don't want to delve down this rabbit hole right away, but when you look at the people around Donald Trump, he puts in people that have no business being in these positions, that have significant influence on our lives, because simply put, they're not qualified, over and over and over again. And there is a big crack in our system right now. The fact that the whole system is based on, hey, if you see that, it's supposed to be stopped at some level in the process of approving these cabinet appointees, and somehow it doesn't work because these folks, just simply put, will not say no to Donald Trump.
Well, I just want to say that I was in the military and medical corps, and we vaccinated people. If you left the country, you would have to get vaccinated. Now you have Kennedy in there, and he doesn't believe in that, and get vaccinated. The doctor said the people that died didn't have to die with with the measles. I'm talking about the measles.
Yeah,
they didn't have to die, but they didn't believe in getting vaccinated, and I strongly believe that. I've got about 8 shots of COVID, and so for an example, as I was studying COVID, that a family went into the hospital, and the wife had COVID, and the doctor came out and said to the family, the mother is gone. That's how fast it can hit you. It's very important to get vaccinated.
I got to cut you off right there. We got 5 seconds to go.
Get vaccinated.
Top of the hour, and then another hour to come here on 98.9 WXCO.
All I need is a TV show. That and the radio. Down on my luck again. Down on my luck again. I can show you some of the people in my life. I can show you some of the people in my life. It's driving me mad. Just another way of passing the day.
Good morning. It is Friday, Good Friday, April the 18th, 2025. The time is 8:07. Currently overcast skies in downtown Wausau at our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. Temperature stands at 51 degrees. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Friday edition of the Chad Holmes Show. 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Plus, you can also join us by going to YouTube, youtube.com, and the 98.9 WXCO radio, WXCO channel on that app. So again,
It's almost the end of the week. It's okay.
No, I just got a message and it makes me chuckle because there's people that don't like me out there.
Oh, jeez.
And and the thing is, fine. This person has been coming after me for a very long time, and it's just the way it is, and enjoys. It makes them feel good, so I guess I'm all for that. So, very good. But we're going to move forward. Coming up in this hour, we'll be talking to Paul Michlig. He'll be joining us in studio at 9:21 this morning. Then at 9:51, we will have our daily history lesson. We will talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on this date in history, some celebrity birthdays, also special events being acknowledged today, and our number for the day quiz. And the person that takes the number for the day quiz is our in-studio engineer and our producer, Ian Welsh. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Chad.
You are 2 for 4 so far this week. So that means that you will have an opportunity to get a winning week, because what we do is we give you 3 choices every day, one of which is correct, our number for the day, 2 of which are incorrect. So that's 1 out of 3. And that, based on the math, that's 33%. So if you just guess, you should get 33% correct. So if you get better than 33% for the week, we call that a passing grade. If you get less than 33%, it's a failing grade. But we want more than that.
Yes.
Because if you get more right than wrong, then it's a winning week. But if you get 4 out of 5 right, we give you an A on the report card, because that's terrific.
Yes, it is.
And then, of course, you get the A+ if you get all 5 during the week, which you did last week.
Yes, I did.
But this week you're 2 for 4. That means that today it's all going to be about trying to get that winning week.
Yes.
Get 3rd correct
Successful
answer.
week.
And during this segment, we always give you the topic for our number for the day quiz. And today, Rib Mountain.
Rib Mountain. Ooh.
Because I was actually looking when we were talking about Earth Day earlier about some of the things going on in Wausau. And there was some information about Rib Mountain, and it had a number involved in it. And I said, oh, there we go. That would be a good number for the day. So it's good. I will give you a hint on it. It's going to be a big number.
A big number.
A big number. A very big number. So we will do that coming up at the end of the hour.
Sounds good.
Any plans for the holiday weekend?
Well, this weekend will be pretty busy for me and my family. My sister is coming up from Madison, and today is her birthday.
Oh, very nice.
So we're gonna
and of
get
course,
together as a family.
and of course, I was going to say it later as part of our celebrity birthdays, because you definitely are a celebrity.
Oh,
But coming up this weekend on Sunday, it is your birthday.
yep.
So we want to wish you a very happy birthday in advance, since we won't have a show on Sunday. But yes, absolutely. So
No, I appreciate
that is one of our celebrity birthdays for the weekend.
Because this weekend is all about, spending time with the family and celebrating our birthdays. And yeah, this week has been pretty busy when it comes to, it's Holy Week, and I got the Anastasia rehearsals and just getting ready for the birthdays. It's just, it's a crazy, but it's a good kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
It keeps you busy.
Fantastic. So it sounds
It should be nice weather as well.
Yep,
so.
it sounds like at least until late Sunday, things will be a-okay. So definitely something to look forward to. Wanted to speak briefly here in this segment about Senator Chris Van Hollen, Democrat from Maryland, what he did. And I got to say, and I put out a posting on my social media last night. I want more Chris Van Hollens and fewer Chuck Schumers and who else was it that I put in there? Chuck Schumer. Who did I put else? I got to look on that. But let me.
What did he do?
Fewer Gavin Newsoms and Chuck Schumers. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland went down to El Salvador because Trump is not doing anything. The court said Trump has to facilitate somehow the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who is mistakenly deported by the Trump administration to that concentration camp down in El Salvador. Well, Chris Van Hollen said, doggone it, I'm going down there. I'm going to see what's going on. Because, we've seen pictures of Republicans go down there. And there was a good article I saw yesterday talking about how those pictures, some of these Republican representatives standing in front of that concentration camp with their thumbs up like Donald Trump. And they were in this article talked about how it was so similar to the pictures we saw in Iraq, the Abu Ghraib torture, where they had these folks sitting there with their thumbs up. It's disgusting that these United States representatives went down there not to try to get this mistakenly deported man returned to the United States of America, but to take shots that they can put on their social media. But Van Hollen went down there, and at first he was not allowed to meet with them. But he kept at it. And then finally last night, he was able to visit and talk to this man who is innocent and has been used by the Trump administration. And the thing that I wanted to mention as well is that we're seeing the true character of people like Donald Trump and the dictator of El Salvador. The El Salvadoran dictator has gone on to social media and put on some snide remarks about this. Wrote Garcia, this is again the dictator of El Salvador, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. Now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Donald Trump has also added very little to the conversation, as he tends to do. Donald Trump says that Van Hollen is begging for attention. How come every time that these megas open their mouths, they're projecting? Seriously? You talk about a guy that has been begging for attention for his entire life. It is Donald J. Trump. The man is a attention bleep. I'm not going to use the term on this airwaves because that would be wrong.
Show horse. That's what he is. It's all about the show.
But the idea that Donald Trump going onto his social media saying that Senator Van Hollen is begging for attention is just laughable. Anything to add, Cornell? Because I tell you, let me ask you this real fast. We got a couple minutes here. As we move forward in this Trump era, we need people that are going to do things. And that's been frustrating to me. People like Chuck Schumer who have not done enough. People like Governor Gavin Newsom who are talking to folks from the MAGA right on his podcast. Like that's somehow bringing people together. No, we need fighters right now, don't we?
Well, it's just great what Van Hollen did. To go down there and try to get him freed. I mean, it's a total violation of due process. I mean, they should Bondi should resign.
Well, she should not be. You know what? She in a functioning government right now. She wouldn't resign. She'd be impeached. I mean, that's the.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess I should say, actually, in a functioning democracy, she would have never been allowed to become the attorney general.
Yeah.
They would have rejected that nomination. She is somebody that has, for her entire career, ever since she got a campaign donation from Donald Trump, has been serving the interests of Donald Trump. The Attorney General of the United States of America is not supposed to be somebody that serves the president. It's supposed to be serving the United States people.
Yeah, correct.
And I think a great example would be going back to the Clinton administration and Janet Reno. Bill Clinton did not like Janet Reno because Janet Reno was independent.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to get her out of the way for many years, but she stayed the entire 8 years of the Clinton administration, and because she was not there to serve Bill Clinton. So again, that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
that
right.
It should not be where I mean, Trump yesterday saying that the chairman of the Federal Reserve, who he can't fire, should be fired. I mean, this man thinks he's got powers that he does not have. And people need to call him out on that every single day.
Just have to follow the regulations, and he's not doing that. That there's separation of powers, and it's just horrible that the way things are going on. But I'm glad that Von Hollen went down there and trying to get him out of there. It's just terrible that you just can't throw people out. You have to go through due process.
Well, the whole thing is, again, the courts. The Supreme Court of the United States has said, Donald Trump, you have to try and facilitate the release of this man. They're doing nothing. People have to start being held in contempt and spend a couple of nights in prison here before.
Well, the judge is looking at the situation when the plane left, and he's getting all that information together, and I think he's going to rule on that. And it's
let's hope that something is, again, Von Hollen is getting something done. People have to get things done. So
that's really great.
We have to take a quick time out, and then coming up next, we'll be talking to Paul Michlig. He'll be joining us coming up in a couple of minutes. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
No lessons learned from yesterday. Talk for change. Life is so strange. When you're down, how can you tell where you're going to? You can't be sure of any situation. Something could change, and then you wonder. Where do we go from here? It seems so near, just as far beyond as I can see. I still don't know what this all means to me.
Welcome back. Chad Holmes with you here on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And again, you can also join us by going online to youtube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel on the site, and see a video stream, and you'll see me on one side of the table, and you'll see Paul Michlig on the other side of the table, wearing his Bucks sweatshirt. He is ready for the playoffs.
Let's go. Let's get it going.
Ready to go at 12 noon tomorrow. The Bucks in Indianapolis taking on the Pacers. I said to you as you came in, I'm a man of my word. You know that, right?
Yes, you are.
Definitely a man of my word. And I said last Friday when we were talking, we wrapped it up. The last thing was going into the weekend, the Bucks had to play Detroit twice, and they had to win one of those two games in order to secure a number 5 seed and keep that position. And you said that I thought they'd probably go to Sunday, that Detroit would win on Friday night in Detroit, and you said nope, the Bucks are going to win in Detroit, and doggone it, they went out there and they won in Detroit. And I had to say, you're right.
How does that feel?
It pains me. First, I lose my show, and then
And you're wrong to me.
I tell you, it's changing. It's changing. So people that are dancing on my grave, it's just changing.
Yes.
But no, congratulations. 8 in a row going into the playoffs. I don't know if it's been a week. It doesn't really does momentum hang around that long?
No, it doesn't. But the momentum of getting a little juice from the news of Dame practicing, I think makes up for it a little bit. It takes a little pressure off. I think that first game, and who knows, maybe he doesn't come back at all. Maybe he's just practicing. I'm getting the sense that he's going to come back sometime during this series. When that happens, who knows? But you know how they say it, a series doesn't start until you win one on the road.
Right.
So,
and actually, they get a couple of chances. I sometimes think it's actually good to start on the road in a sense early in the series. If you get to 7 games, obviously that's not the way you want it to be. But I think sometimes early in the series, you get that opportunity to get an early momentum change because, like you said, if you win, you're supposed to win. But if you at home, but if you go on the road and win, that can be a good juicer right away.
I mean, I thought it was Miami when they were the number 1 seed. The Bucks, you know what I mean? They lost, and you felt that you were in trouble.
Yep. Even last year, they kept chasing once they lost. Which game did they lose did they lose the first game against Indiana last year? I'm trying to remember because they were the home team again because they lost in 6.
They had to. Yeah, they lost the first one. Yes.
Okay, but it was the same thing. I mean, and then they had chances in Indiana every time. They could never quite get over the hump. They were some close games, but then you're chasing the series after.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and sound foolish, but when they won the championship, they were chasing.
Yeah, they weren't number 1 seed that year. They're actually. You're right because I
think they're.
I'm not.
They won those games. My point being is they flipped the script.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if you can get one of these first 2, you're flipping the script to being favored. And then if you get Dame back going on there, I like.
And I'll say I'll lead you into this one because you're somebody that has said that, they made those changes around the trade deadline. And in the end, they did turn them into a better basketball team, significantly better basketball team, didn't it?
Anybody that watched them at the beginning of the year did not have, and Rollins is fine, but he's not an NBA guy that's going to carry you through he's going to have to play tonight, obviously, or tomorrow. But there is going to be a situation where they had to get rid of Middleton. to get that trade to get Kevin Porter Jr. That they had to make that trade. If they didn't make the Middleton trade, they can't make the Beauchamp trade. This is how this goes. So even if you say that Kuzma's not good, they wouldn't have got the other guy if they didn't make that trade. So it all works together, and that's the thing that people have to look at. You got to look at the whole package, and they're better. They're probably going to be better in the long haul. Are they better now? I think they are. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out. And these guys, some of these guys haven't played in the playoff, like a meaningful playoff series. So
true.
let's see what they do in that too. But Pat Connaughton, do you think that he? I guess my
that's really
is he going to make the rotation?
But that's an incredible performance, because you're right, he had not been part of the rotation, and then they're basically, it shows if you get an opportunity, it doesn't matter if it's a so-called meaningless game, because that shows there are no meaningless games. He had a chance to play Sunday because the Bucks decided to rest all those guys, and he came out and he gave his coach something to think about, right?
Correct. Offensively, that if Gary Trent Jr. is not hitting or whatever the case may be, the only thing is that what the difference is between, I like Gary Trent defense, better than Connaughton's. Obviously KPJ is better defender than Dame. Rollins is better defender than, so that they have a mixture of they're trying to see they're become better defensively with these guys. Kuz, I don't think he's the best defender, and the stats will show that, but he does give a little length.
Yeah.
And I don't think Middleton was a very good defender anyways at the end here. Like Kuz could be.
He wasn't physically capable of being a
correct.
Stop. I mean, it's just we all lose a step, and he lost a step and a half with those 2 ankle surgeries. So
he did do a lot better than you and me would.
I think he did. even with 2 bad ankles, he did he did much better. We got about less than a minute to go before the break. For the first 2 games, Bucks had pretty good success against Indiana during the regular season. Do they come right out and get?
They get one of these first 2 games. That's guaranteed. One of the first 2 games they will get. They are winning the series, Chad. I can say this loud and clear. They are winning this first series.
Bucks in 5?
I didn't say that. I said they're winning the
Bucks
series.
In 6?
Yeah, Bucks in 6.
Okay, Bucks in 6. All right. I think they're going to win it too. I do think that. I think that Giannis is so ready to be back on the big stage. He's going to be a man.
He doesn't want to be done in a week and a half.
He's been
Giannis back.
Yeah, he's been waiting for about 3 years to be a factor this time of year, and I think he's had a great year, and I think he's ready to roll. So we'll talk more with Paul Michlig coming up after an information update here on 98.9 WXCO. Welcome back. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. And again, if you have a question or comment about what we're talking about, you can join us. 715-382-9297. Call or text us at that number. 715-382-9297. Again, talking to Paul Michlig, Wisconsin Sports, as we get set for the holiday weekend. Brewers, I got to tell you, that's a team that just seems like every time that feels like, oh, they're going in the wrong direction, they never, again, I mean, I guess, a long season, you have the ups and downs, but they look so bad on Monday, and then bang, give up 1 run in 2 days against a pretty good Detroit team. It's just, they seem to have this ability not to let bad things really affect them too long.
I don't know if they've played, I think their schedule's been lucky to a point.
Detroit's not bad.
They're not bad. I mean,
They're
Arizona should not be bad, but they're 500 at the time.
I would say those are 2 pretty good teams.
I think so, but they haven't played the Cubs. They haven't played San Francisco. They haven't played.
Who's to say that the Cubs are better than Detroit? Come on.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I'm not willing to say that yet. I mean, Cubs. It
was good. It was good. I will say this is that people were saying that they do fill in pieces somehow. The question I ask is, when they get all these pitchers back, what are they going to do?
It's a good problem to have.
I mean, it's going to be a good problem to have, and maybe it always works itself out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's actually going to be the point, because I swear
they just brought Henderson up though.
I know.
So now they got, and he'll probably start on Sunday.
But the thing is, I think you have had, it's going to work itself out because there's multiple ways to work itself out. It could work itself out through another injury, and it could work itself out through performance. And the idea that all these guys are going to perform at this incredibly high level, I think, would be overly optimistic.
Yeah, is it though?
It is. I think it is.
I'm pretty sure. I'm going to tell you this right now, and I know people were not happy that they gave up a pretty good draft prospect. And I'll tell you, he was a first round guy. He's got first round talent. Actually, I think we had this discussion last week, to be honest with you.
Right. And he was the first round. He was 13th overall pick.
So he's got talent.
Right.
I'll tell you this right now. Anytime that Hook can coach, right. he knows how to pitch,
right,
that he's going to make a guy that has talent good. I think I really do. So now you got him in the rotation. Quintana, you obviously are going to have in there. He knows how to pitch. He knows how to pitch. And okay, so now you got 2 guys. Then you got Peralta. Those 3. And Patrick, if he keeps doing what he's doing, how can you take him out? So now you got 4. Now you got
again.
You got Tobias coming back.
Let's get a bigger sample. Again, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I do think that it's going to work itself out. If the Milwaukee Brewers are the one team that has 8 guys that are capable of being starting pitchers in the major leagues, then hallelujah here on this Good Friday.
Correct. Their problem is they have 8 pitchers. They're not stars.
Right.
That's their problem.
And the thing is, nowadays, it wouldn't shock me if they had a 6-man rotation these days. I mean, that's the way they're looking at some of these teams. It's getting pathetic.
Well, they took Prester out after 84 pitches.
I know. It's like, I swear. I mean, again, it's one of my. I'm an old man here shouting at the clouds. Where I think if you ask these pitchers to go a little bit deeper, I mean, I'll be doing a game today and doubleheader tomorrow. High school pitchers.
There's a game today?
Yeah, West plays a game on Good Friday.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, but
that's off the subject.
But I'm good. These guys, they go with 100 pitches, and then they have to be taken out because that's the rule. But I don't see coaches. 75 pitches. We're yanking them out. I mean, big league players who have had their bodies even more developed. I mean, they're being feathered so much.
Now, I will say, are they doing it because they're so thin right now? They don't want to lose these guys.
No,
so
they're doing it because that's the way it is for everybody these days.
I know, but I think they will. I'm hoping that they would go if they had 7 pitchers and they knew they had 7 pitchers and one got hurt.
They had a one hitter, like you said, 83, where they had a pitcher and then 4 relievers. I mean, a one hitter with 5 pitchers. I mean, it just drives me nuts.
Well, once you take the starter out, then
I
it doesn't
know,
really
but
matter.
but I mean, the idea that means you took the starter out pretty darn early when you have 4 pitchers after him and a one hitter.
I'm more worried that
I know
they're going to hurt the bullpen.
I know, yeah, and we've seen, and frankly, last season in the playoffs, Major League Baseball, not just Brewers, but Major League Baseball, you saw a number of indicators that yes, that can happen. Some of these teams that made it really deep last season had major issues with their bullpens in the playoffs. And I saw, a lot of writing about that, hey, you got to start thinking about that a little bit earlier. You can't just ride these guys into the ground and then think they're going to still be at the same level for the most important games of the year.
Correct. And once you start getting dents into your bullpen, it doesn't matter. To be honest, last week when they lost to Arizona, what was it? They didn't lose because of starting pitching.
Right.
Their losses have not become because of the starting pitch. Besides the one guy, Hernandez, he hasn't pitched very well. But the other guys, the bullpen, the games that they've lost, some of these games lately have been because of their bullpen. So how long are you going to go? How long are you going to keep riding these guys? If they got to go four innings and shut a ball, it's not going to last.
No.
I shouldn't even say that. They lasted last year, so what do we know?
But they didn't get to the World Series either, so we don't know if they would have lasted.
but let's be honest, though. Is this team built for a World Series?
No. I mean, even now they're playing pretty darn well, and they're one game over 500. so and the thing is, at any point, like we say, they could have. All these pitchers have one bad start, and all of a sudden it's a 5-game losing streak. I mean, it would not be a shocker. I mean, it's just one of those things where they have guys that are capable of stepping up, but they have guys who are capable of having games like 9-1 on Monday night. I mean, it's
well, you said Detroit's a good team.
They are a good team.
See, that's winning the series and lose 9-1. If you tell me that we're going to win 2 out of 3 every time, and our loss is going to be 9-1. Would you take it?
That's why when you look at run differential, it means nothing.
It does. He was pretty. The thing is, Murphy was a little upset about it, though. I don't know if you saw him after the game or the post game.
Well, you saw it when he was talking about this team has been blown out more times this season.
Yes,
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, he said he seemed frustrated by it, like genuinely frustrated.
Why are we not showing up these days? Which is odd because it's like like I say, I mean, they get blown out, but then they pop right back. I mean,
but the problem is when they had opportunity, and if you tell me Colorado is a good team, then I'll laugh at you. But they had they had a chance to sweep Colorado last Thursday.
That was a lousy performance.
Yep, and then they come back and they blow it on Saturday and Sunday. They're right. They needed to get a couple more runs there, so they could have went 6-0.
They could have,
and they went 3-3.
Yep.
And that was bullpen.
And you want to get that was one of the keys last year. They got that little cushion early on 500. So they're able to build on it. You don't want to be hanging around 500 until the All-Star break. And it doesn't mean that would be horrible or anything beyond that. But I thought last season that made it a lot easier for them to kind of maintain that lead in the division and really be able to do good things.
You feel a 500 season coming on? I just feel a 500, which is okay. No,
it feels like it feels like they're going to be in it in September, and I think that's a good thing.
They're just going to be good enough to be in it.
They're going to be in this wild card
which is going to keep the fans in it, which is going to keep the money flowing, which is going to make your buddy happy because he can just stay the course and nobody can say nothing to him.
Right. No, you're right. We'll see. I wanted to ask you about, are you going to the draft next week?
In some form or fashion. You only get one opportunity. You got to go over
I'll
there.
Live vicariously through you for that.
Not on your bucket list?
Not on my bucket list.
I mean, it's pretty, unique and cool to be.
I mean, I know nothing wrong with it, but
I mean, we'll never see it again.
No, well, who knows? I know.
That. We'll never see it again.
you know all.
Well, no,
you're Mr. No wiggle room here.
I'll tell you this right now. If you and me see this ever again, I'll make sure in our lifetime. I meant, yeah, that's what I'm saying is, just so you know, Chad, we're not.
We're not immortal.
we're not 10 anymore. But it's going to be a long time until we see it here. A lot of that stuff, man. Luckily, the weather looks like it's going to be good.
I know. That's pretty darn lucky.
What happens if it was
like
today,
like
yesterday
in the southern part of the state, like yesterday, where you have baseball size hail? Could you imagine that? Could you or even
winds of
or
30
massive thunderstorms? I mean,
Yes.
it's like because you've been there at the family night where they have to clear the entire bowl because of that. What do? We just a madhouse.
And I think they take that chance in a lot of places they go. If it was Tennessee. Whatever.
Probably worse than Tennessee.
But this is going to be. It could be 40 degrees and rainy, sideways, and snow, and it could be a miserable. I guess I never really thought about it. I should have. I guess not that it really matters, but it could have been. It could have been a disaster.
Oh, absolutely. Well, have fun. I want to ask you because
who do you think they'll pick?
I have no idea. I'm not a mock.
Aaron Rodgers. I know your boy Aaron Rodgers thought that the running back is pretty good.
Good for Aaron to have a new relationship. I hear. Good for Aaron.
He does.
He was on the McAfee show yesterday.
Yeah. He said that though.
Yeah. Apparently, he's got a new relationship. So
he's working on
Aaron
that.
Rodgers will come back to the Packers?
No. He's if he's going anywhere, he's going to.
Chad wishes
Pittsburgh.
he could.
No, Chad does not. Chad wants Lynn Dickey to come back. He's still my guy.
Did you? I mean, I'm not saying what the Jets did, but did you just see how listen to him and how quickly he turned on the Jets and how?
My thought is good for Aaron Glenn going in there and putting the hammer down within 10 seconds and saying, "Hey, we have no use for you, buddy." And then Aaron whined that he flew there on his own dime.
Yes.
I mean, wow. That was funny. I would love to have had a hidden camera on that meeting. That would have been fun.
That would have been. Does he? And again, I have nothing. Whatever. Aaron is Aaron, and he did a lot of great things.
Yeah.
And Green Bay
gave me a lot of joy.
Gave a lot of joy. But does he think that any sane person would think? Oh, poor Aaron had to take a flight all the way. I mean,
on his own dime.
Get out of here.
I mean, that Spirit Airlines flight must have been this horrible. I mean, poor guy at Aaron Rodgers. And the thing about it is, if he goes to Pittsburgh, I don't know how much he's got left in the tank. And Pittsburgh is. Obviously I think they picked up what's his name from Seattle, the receiver,
DK.
Yeah, DK Metcalf, and obviously that's a big lift. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he has a Favre-like year with the Vikings, because that's what people are hoping for. That would want Aaron to come in, right, with Pittsburgh. But I mean, I don't know. I think it would be more like the second Favre Viking year than the first Favre Viking year.
And do you want to go out that way? If he's content and he's been out of the media for 3 months, like he said, or 2 months, you know what? Go retire. Go enjoy your life. I got nothing wrong with that.
No, and that thing is, I mean, do you don't have to milk every drop out of the rock.
I know you always say, "Hey, you want to get this one time."
I do.
The only thing is, I don't know if this time is worth it.
But when I say that means the guy really wants to keep playing. If you have to think a lot about it, maybe that's a sign in itself.
And there's no chip on his shoulder. If he went to the Vikings,
right,
there's a chip on his shoulder. Do you know what I mean?
And I think maybe he's going to wait
to see how JJ does.
Yeah, that might be his play.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys. You guys have a great Easter weekend.
You
and
too,
it's always been a joy. So enjoy, guys, and have enjoy your game this afternoon. And
we're off the air.
Thank you guys.
You still keep going.
And welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO and on the Civic Media app. It is Friday, April the 18th of 2025, day number 108 of this year. There are 257 days remaining in the year of 2025. Yep, we are flying right on by when it comes to 2025. The days and the weeks just keep coming faster and faster and faster.
Moving right along.
And a number of famous events have occurred on this date in history, April the 18th. On this date in 1775, 2 lanterns were hung in Boston, and Paul Revere, William Dawes, and Samuel Prescott wrote to warn of impending arrest of Samuel Adams and John Hancock. On this date in 1923, Yankee Stadium, the house that Ruth built, opened. On this date in 1999, hockey player Wayne Gretzky's number 99 was retired league-wide in the NHL. On this date in 2012, TV legend Dick Clark died following a heart attack in Santa Monica, California. And on this date in 2023, Southwest Airlines grounded 800 planes, causing thousands of delays. Some famous folks are celebrating their birthdays today. Rick Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Ghostbusters, and Spaceballs is 72 years old today.
Comedy legend.
Eric Roberts, actor, also the brother of Julia Roberts. I'm sure he is always thrilled when a guy that has plenty of acting credits to his own name. He's always introduced as Eric Roberts, brother of Julia Roberts. But
he has his own. He has his own status.
He certainly does. But Eric Roberts, actor, 69 years old today. Actor Jane Leeves from Frasier, Hot in Cleveland, and The Princess Bride is 64. Conan O'Brien, longtime late-night television host, is 62 years old today. Eric McCormick, who played Will on Will and Grace, is 62. Actor Maria Bello from NCIS, also was on ER for a time, is 58 years old today. Melissa Joan Hart, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, 49 years old. Kourtney Kardashian is 46. Also, model and actor Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Mad Max Fury Road, is 38 years old today. And if you out there, one more celebrity birthday coming on Sunday. Ian Welsh, turning, 31?
31.
So Ian Welsh, celebrity, turns 31 on Sunday.
Today is also my sister's
birthday.
Go. My sister, Hannah. She is 27 today, so happy birthday, Hannah.
Very
Look forward
good.
to seeing you when you come home today.
And everybody else out there celebrating a birthday today or this weekend, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
All right, some special events. It is Adult Autism Awareness Day. It is High Five Day. Get to Know Your Customers Day. Animal Crackers Day. It is Newspaper Columnist Day. Pet Owners Independence Day. I have no idea why pet owners would need an Independence Day. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that seems a little odd.
All right, time for our number for the day quiz.
Final one of the week. Yes.
Final one of the week. Ian is 2 for 4 so far this week, so he's got a passing grade because anything above 33% is a passing grade for the week. But we want him to have a winning week, and the winning week is where you get more right than wrong. Do you recall the topic for today's number for the day?
Yes, I do. It was about Rib Mountain, and you said it was a big number.
Yep.
That's all you told me. Yep. But
all right.
Rib Mountain is the topic.
Of course, Rib Mountain State Park offers spectacular views of the Wausau area and Wisconsin River. Perfect lookout point for the entire city. Rib Mountain State Park is also one of the oldest geological formations on Earth.
Ooh.
And the number for the day is, what is how old Rib Mountain in terms of its geological formation? So
How old?
it is one of the oldest geological formations on Earth. And how old is Rib Mountain?
Okay, what are my choices?
Your choices are 1.8 billion years,
Whew.
3.6 billion years, 5.4 billion years.
You're not kidding about that big number.
I think those are the biggest numbers we've ever had on our number for the day.
So 1.8, 3.6, and 5 point what?
4.
5.4.
So they're all in groups
billion.
of 1.8. So we start with 1.8. We go to 3.6, which is a 1.8 bigger, and then another 1.8 bigger is 5.4. So 1.8, 3.6, and 5.4.
I'm going to say 5.4. I'm going to go with the biggest number to end the week. I'm going to go with C as my final answer.
Rib
5.8.
Mountain State Park, one of the oldest geological formations on Earth, dates back to around 1.8 billion years ago.
The smallest number.
Well, you were in the right track. You were not in the middle.
It was
but
a big number. I just guessed
it was a big number, but still, you got a passing grade this week. So we will start again on Monday.
Yes.
Hey, enjoy your birthday, enjoy your Easter with the family, and we'll see you on Monday.
Yep. I will. Have a great weekend, everybody, and happy Easter too.
Wausau West baseball against Wittenberg Burnhamwood today at 4:50 right here on 98.9 WXCO. We'll be back Monday morning, 8 till 10 here on WXCO.
Sure.